I have something for you to watch. And as you're watching it, please stay tuned, because as soon as it's over, I have an invitation for you that I think you're going to find important. So stay on, because we've got something significant for you to see. Barbara, we've known each other for a long time, several decades at least. And I've always known you to be a spiritual person, and a person very committed to her faith, living it out. And I know that in that journey, you've developed an unusual gift that is fascinating to me. Tell us about what happened that particular night when quite a few years ago you had this experience. What happened?
Well, to start with, when we moved to Oklahoma City, we thought we would be here the duration of the rest of our lives. And one night, my husband and I were in bed. He was sleeping. I don't know whether I was awake or asleep, but
you're kind of in a twilight?
Probably, I guess.
Area.
Anyway, these two angels came to me. And
did you know they were angels?
I knew they were angels, and I don't know how I knew that they were my mother and daddy's guardian angels. I don't know how I knew that, but I just knew that this is...
What did they look like?
They were beautiful. One of them was really, really big, and the other one was much smaller. Mm-hmm. And I, in my mind, I thought, well, this one that was so big was up close to me, and the one that was smaller, I guess, was further away. But they were... The best way I can explain it, you know, when someone is standing in front of the sun and the sun is coming through their hair, it just kind of glows and looks like it's blonde. Mm-hmm. That's the way they looked. It just looked like they glowed, and their hair was down to their shoulders. And the best I could tell, it was blonde, but they just glowed.
And they were very large?
One of them was very large. The other one was a little bit smaller.
When we say large, like nearly to the ceiling?
He just appeared large. That's the only thing. And their faces were almost chiseled like. They were too beautiful to be male, and yet they were too masculine to be a female look. You know, It was just a non-gender thing, and they...
Now, and as you were almost asleep or sleeping or not sure, but they just were suddenly there?
They just were there, and they said that they would take care of them.
Take care of?
Well, that's what they said to start with. They would take care of them.
Now, wait, take care of... Who is them? Your mother and father?
I'll get to that. They said they would take care of them, and I didn't know what they were trying to tell me. And they said they would take care of them and watch over them. And I still didn't understand. And they said they would watch over them and take care of them while I was away, that they weren't ready for either one of them. And I don't know, I just knew that was Mother and Daddy. And so...
And you worried a lot about your mother and father,
Oh,
right?
yes. And at that time, my husband said, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I said, "I just saw two angels." And he sat straight up in bed and said, Where? You know, and then they were gone. And to the point, well, I was afraid to tell anybody because I thought they were going to think I was just totally out of it. And then all of a sudden, I wanted to tell everybody about it. But 2 weeks later, after this happened, I got a telephone call from my husband, and he said, "We're being transferred to Germany." And I said, "No." I just told you we couldn't go. I could not go and leave Mother and Daddy at this time of their life when they needed me. And he got very angry at me because I kept saying I couldn't go. And he hung up on me. And I had just gone out to the mailbox, and I had some mail in my hands, and I threw it down. And I looked down at it, and out of an envelope or a piece of paper came these small words, and they just kept getting bigger and bigger. and it said, "Let go and let God." And I said, "You got it." And at that moment, I was at peace with going, and I was able to go and know that they were taken care of, even though I flew home every 6 months to check on them. And then at the end of the 5 years that we were there, when they were ready to send us back home, I was absolutely just terrified of coming home. And I didn't know why. And then it dawned on me why I was terrified was I was not going to be away anymore, and the angels weren't going to take care of them. Well, that was a stupid thing to think, but because I knew God and the angels were always taking care of them.
But you had, through that experience, come to the realization that people had guardian angels.
Yes.
And these figures that you saw were particularly their guardian angels.
Yes, I knew they were. And the thing that I was so mesmerized by was their mouth wasn't moving. I could hear their words, but their mouth didn't move. So I just kept staring at their mouth, trying to figure out how I could hear them when their mouth didn't move. And then after it was all over with, and later on, I thought, dang, I forgot to look to see if they had wings, and I'd always wondered if they had wings, and I was just so interested in their mouth, I forgot to see if they had wings.
But you knew you had encountered what the Scripture talks about as
Yes.
angels, and that they had a job that they were
Yes.
fulfilling with your parents.
Yes.
Well, Barbara, I think that indicates an ability on your part to make that kind of encounter. Did anything like that ever happen later?
Well, there was a man in our church that we all loved very much, and Jeff and I didn't get to go to his funeral. And the day after they had his funeral, he appeared in our bedroom up at the ceiling and from the corner, and he just came down, and he just had a very sweet smile on his face. He didn't say anything, but he just had a very nice, sweet smile, and then he was gone.
What did you draw from that? What did that do for you to have that happen?
It just made me know even more so stronger that there was a God and there is a heaven.
And that was comforting to you.
Oh, yes, yes.
So today, as you go about your life, you live with a new assurance, a reassurance of how the things that you believed are realities.
Absolutely. I didn't know that anybody else could tell, but it really changed my life. It made me want to be a better Christian and a better person, and to learn more about God and the angels and just everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it just really brought it home.
Well, so it would seem to you that the people who are listening to us today, they could discover that perhaps they had a guardian angel.
Yes.
And that discovery would be very powerful in their experience.
I am sure that we all have guardian angels, because there's been other things that have happened that I know that Jeff and I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the angels. So, because they have protected us many times, that I know they did.
That is so powerful, because so often we get our sense of reality from watching television programs that are bizarre, crazy, blow up people, blow up cars. But you're telling us and showing us that in reality, the real world, the supernatural world, is filled with protection and love and guidance and the redemptive work of God.
Yes, we were caught in an ice storm one time, and I was just telling Jeff what a great job he had been doing because we hadn't slid or anything, and there were so many 18-wheelers that were jackknifed and off of the road. And about the time I just got through telling him that, our car just started spinning around, and it just went around and around. And as it turned around, every time I saw all the lights from the cars and the trucks behind us, but they were just, you can't stop when you want to on the ice. But all of those vehicles were just held back. And every time we came around, they still weren't coming, up to us. And I don't know how many times we spun around, but when we got through and Jeff got straightened out and started forward, I looked back and the lights and everything were coming up. And I know the angels held them back. I know they did.
They'd saved you from...
They saved me again. They saved us again.
From disaster.
Yes.
Well, that's a terrific word of encouragement. And I hope the people who are listening to us can appreciate that they have the capacity. We can't tell them that they will, they won't, or whatever, but we can tell them they have the capacity to discover this angelic presence that is so supportive and makes such a difference. Barbara, thank you. Thank you for sharing these stories with us.
You're welcome. Thank you for taking it.
I hope you found what you just saw to be inspirational, to be encouragement to you. And I'd like to hear from you. Please write me at Miracles Never Cease, Box 2, Bethany, Oklahoma, 73008.